All right, welcome to the Two Sons Podcast. Happy Thursday, everybody. Hope all you guys are having a great week so far. We are covering the Darth Bane book number 2,
Correct.
Rule of 2 today. I do want to start with another separate Star Wars question for you, though. So I am about halfway through the third, what is it called? Heir to the Empire trilogy, the alternate universe Thrawn. Okay,
Other Thrawn.
And it dawned on me this morning, actually, as I was listening to it, something that really doesn't make any sense to me. Are we okay with the fact that Luke Skywalker seemingly doesn't give a shit about dealing with the Imperial Remnant? Because again, in this alternate universe, it's staged 5 years after Return of the Jedi. And the Imperial Remnant is still there and being dealt with, while the New Republic, the fledgling New Republic, is trying to establish itself. They're winning the war. They're in a more commanding position, but the Imperial Remnant is preparing for counter-assault led by Grand Admiral Thrawn. That's basically this alternate universe. Now, which is basically what we're about to experience in a different kind of context, right? But Luke is, through 2.5 books, Luke is deeply involved.
No surprise, huh?
He's the hero of the Republic in a lot of ways. Now they've added, like, these are the characters who are primarily leading this fight against Grand Admiral Thrawn and the Empire. It is Luke Skywalker, big shock. Han Solo, big shock. Lando Calrissian, big shock. Leia Organa Solo, big shock.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the only new characters that they brought in are basically Mara Jade, not Mara Jade Skywalker yet, at least not to my knowledge. Mara Jade, and there's like other, like a couple ancillary characters, but it's like Mon Mothma, it's Admiral Akbar. And so again, like 5 years post Return of the Jedi, does it make sense to have basically a bunch of people who weren't as deeply involved in the rebellion? I mean, they were to some extent, but like not as deeply involved with the rebellion, basically spearheading the effort against the Imperial Remnant.
Absolutely not. Jason, remember when you and I grew up, what McDonald's looked like? It was like super fun and like colorful, and there was like play places, and it was like super cool, right? McDonald's, when you look at McDonald's, it's like cheap modern architecture.
Super modern.
That's super like, and like I like modern architecture. Like that is not good architecture.
Did they get rid of play places? Is that not a thing anymore?
I think a lot of them are.
Okay.
But my point is, like, now when you look at McDonald's, it's like gray, black, and like white color schemes.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, that is exactly what Kathleen Kennedy has tried to do with Star Wars. Here's my point. Dude, like when we leave Star Wars, Luke is finally fulfilled. He was kind of a nobody on some desert planet, and he knew that he was always going to be more, and he finally got to do that, right? So that was so cool to see him develop as a character. And then we see Luke, and he's washed up, completely doesn't give a crap, is a hermit, like legitimately. Leia and Han, same thing. Like, amazing love story, one of the best of all time.
Mm-hmm.
They're broken up. They have a terrible relationship. They can't live with each other, and they haven't even talked to each other. It's just like, even like Lando, like we just kind of see Lando, and then all of a sudden he's back.
All of a sudden he's back for a random cameo.
And it's kind of like a
Skywalker.
And then like he's not even helping out or hasn't been involved in anything. Like, and it's just like time and time after again, it's just like all of these great Star Wars characters that we like loved, that we saw develop, just were completely not even doing things that were like even related to the characters that we knew and loved growing up. And like, that is just one of the many aspects of how, like, you know, Kathleen Kennedy got it wrong with episode 7, 8, and 9. So like, the answer to your question is a resounding no, and it makes no sense at all. And it would have been so much more magical and like, and it made so much more sense if Luke Skywalker had been a part of this like big push.
I think what's going to end up happening is during this whole Grand Admiral Thrawn assault on the galaxy, we're going to get like 1 or 2 dumb forced Luke cameos. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Luke in his X-Wing as part of some larger space battle, because it'd be easy enough to CGI him in the cockpit, right? Like,
True.
I think we're going to see potentially something similar to what they did at the end of season 2 of Mandalorian, where he shows up and fucks shit up with his lightsaber a little bit, you know, that kind of thing. But like, the truth of the matter is he should be a focal character of this
Right.
of this whole series. Like he
Oh,
just
he
should
do-
be, and so should Leia. And like the only real answer to what would happen if Grand Admiral Thrawn launched an assault on the galaxy is you would recast Leia, you'd recast Luke, and they'd be and Han, and they would be huge roles.
Yeah.
In the movie, that's the only acceptable answer, and they're not going to do it.
They're not. They can't. Like, modern Star Wars has completely missed the boat on Luke Skywalker. The only time that they've really gotten it right is when we see Luke Skywalker in the very, very end of Mandalorian. No, it was Boba Fett. It was the end of Boba Fett when we see Luke Skywalker come in and
No,
Grogu.
I thought it was Mandalorian season 2.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah, because
I
Boba
can't
Fett
remember.
season 2 was like that big shoot 'em up battle,
Oh.
Western. Yeah.
And so that's when we see Luke Skywalker, and he's doing Luke Skywalker things. It makes sense. And then, like, I understand the plot. Like, Luke got destroyed and, wanted to get away from everybody and stuff like that. Like, I understand that plot. It just doesn't make any sense.
And again, like, specifically, they oversimplify Luke's role in the galaxy to just relaunching the Jedi Order, right?
Right.
The brief glimpses we see of him are he's responding to a call to go get Grogu, right? And he decides, oh, fine, I'll fuck up all of Moff Gideon's stuff because I'm here,
Right.
Fine.
Just incredible Jedi stuff.
Meanwhile, that's the power he has. Like, he can
Right.
counter some of the craziest things that the Imperial Remnant can do. And then the second time we see him is like he has a Jedi temple that he's constructing with the help of all these droids, and Ahsoka's there, and now we're going to talk about whether or not we're going to train Grogu. That's literally all we see of him.
Yeah.
And like the role that he plays in these books is exactly what you would expect. Shout out Mark Thompson. He's doing an amazing job doing the voice. It's funny.
does.
He's kind of captured that like grown up Luke vibe that you get from like Return of the Jedi, where it's like nothing, I'm all right, like that kind of vibe. And he is essentially like there to do whatever it takes. And in this third book that I'm reading, the Last Command is what it's called. Luke has just run off about halfway through the book. He's just run off on this crazy mission with Han Solo and Lando Calrissian. Like that, like
Dude,
and
the three
like,
best friends that anybody could have.
Yeah, I know. And the fate of the galaxy hangs in the the balance on this move that he's making. And it's
So
like it
frustrating.
just makes sense to me that that's what he would do. And you know what's funny? And like here's a counterpoint. Luke has, for the most part, not been really training Jedi during this span. Like he's been kind of, but at the same time, it's a mop-up effort. Like it makes sense. Like you would defeat the Empire at Endor.
Yeah.
And then what would happen is like the war's not over. It's just the pivotal victory.
Right.
It's like the Battle of Saratoga for the Revolutionary War. It didn't end there. They just it was a key victory that led to further battles that ended up closing out the war when they got Cornwallis to surrender. That's the way this stuff works. It's not just like, oh, we blew up the Death Star, it's all over. There were thousands of Star Destroyers there. Thousands of them.
Dude, and the Sith and the Jedi are always going to exist, which is kind of the essence of the Darth Bane trilogy, right? And like to act like, just I don't know. It's just Jay.
You bail on the take.
I know it's so bad. Here's my take. We missed the boat with 7, 8, and 9, and Luke Skywalker. I totally agree. No.
Shout out Victor Wembanyama, by the way.
Oh, is he? Yeah, because he's a big Star Wars guy,
Victor
right?
Wembanyama, the best basketball prospect since LeBron James, maybe ever, and a huge Star Wars fan. Listed his favorite movies as Attack of the Clones, Revenge of the Sith, and Empire Strikes Back. That's an excellent top 3.
Yeah, I came
and
down
says
for
that he does not accept the sequel trilogy as canon. He
Dude.
says he flat out doesn't accept it. Shout
God
out Victor
bless.
Wembanyama. If you ever want to come
God
on the
bless
show,
you.
Victor.
Just let us know.
Yeah, dude, we can talk a little bit of basketball and Kathleen Kennedy. It'd be a good time.
Yeah.
I
hit us
think
up.
we'd have to make some adjustments to the studio to get you to fit in here, but I think we could make it work, man.
I want to know where you rate Rogue One, because that's honestly my favorite.
Rogue One.
That is peak Star Wars.
Rogue One is an excellent film that I very much enjoyed, but it doesn't carry the narrative weight that some of those other movies
Dude,
do.
what are you literally talking about? It's the entire intro to when Star Wars originates.
So, okay, I take
It is
that back.
capturing the plans to the Death Star, my guy.
Okay, I understand that it carries narrative weight within the concept of the Galactic Civil War.
Oh,
in
that's
that, like,
super
it was
mild and small.
One of the pivotal battles of the Galactic Civil War. However, it doesn't carry any of the big picture dark versus light Force.
What
battle
are
stuff.
you talking about? It is literally the intro to that. You're a crazy person.
There's no Jedi.
It is
at
the
all.
essence of light and dark. You don't have to have a Jedi to be light.
That I vehemently disagree.
No,
If
so-
you're not a Force user, you're not on that spectrum at all whatsoever.
Number one, everybody has some level of Force within them, no matter what, just from being a living being.
Okay.
Number two, there's still sides, and it was still like the light side against like the dark side, even though Vader showed up at the end as like a Sith.
Okay. What about our Darth Bane books that we're reading? That whole thing with the new Sith Wars was like when the war was over, the New Republic pardoned all the Sith soldiers because they were just soldiers.
Yeah. But
That
they're
were pawns in the dark versus light battle.
but Jay, but these are like legitimately like rebels that are like in the nastiness of like rebelling against the Empire. Like these dudes,
they're rebels that are
these
rebelling.
yeah. That's quite profound. No, but these dudes are like in like the
They're in the
rebellion
weeds
is
of it.
yeah they're in the weeds of it. They know what they're doing. They did not have to join the rebellion.
I hear you. I guess I'm just saying in the big picture, I thought that Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith, which breaks down literally the Sith grand plan.
Yeah.
And then literally The Empire Strikes Back, which is an all-time great movie. I think it's totally
sure.
acceptable to say those movies peg higher than Rogue One.
No, I totally agree with you. But your
Now, if
take
he
on
said-
it was terrible.
So I just got to put a bow on that. Like I have this. I know you're going to struggle a little bit with it just to accept it at first, but give you 2 hours with Heir to the Empire and you'll be bought into enjoying it for what it is, which is a Star Wars story. That said, like my biggest takeaway has been like, this is what it should have been like.
Yeah.
This is what it should have been like. Like, if you're gonna dive into Remnant content, like it literally felt like what they did is they were like, we have to go 30 years in the future because of this age group that the three main actors were in, and they tried to force a story around that circumstance. When like the reality is if you were gonna cover the Remnant that 5 years post Return of the Jedi, you'd have to recast, you'd have to do that kind of stuff. And I understand that that's complicated, but like, honestly, if that's the story you wanted to tell, you could have done that.
It's
and
doable.
Star Wars fans would have accepted it. We've seen
True.
the recast thing before. I mean, the dude who they recasted for Han Solo, Alden Ehrenreich, I think, I thought he did a great job.
Oh, did a great job.
Yeah,
I loved
and like,
I loved the
and if
movie
he
Solo,
showed
too.
up as that, I'd be cool with it.
For
and
sure.
like,
For sure.
It's not like we literally saw in House of the Dragon, which by the way they've wrapped up production and that's going to come out in summer of 2024. So like we'll have
it's coming
Acolyte in the spring, we'll have that, and then we're also gonna have I think Lord of the Rings season 2 comes out. So like a lot of good content to cover next year. However, like I just think in general that they are like telling a Star Wars story that we're going to enjoy and we're going to embrace. Dave Filoni's going to do a great job, but it just doesn't make any sense to have all of your foundational characters like literally where the fuck is Han Solo?
Yeah.
He was a general in the rebellion.
Dude, I know.
He was a general.
None of this makes sense.
Where is he?
No.
Like Hera Syndulla is now in his spot is basically what's happening, which I'm totally down for Hera being there. But like, it just doesn't make sense. Like, I can't believe they haven't just been throwing Admiral Akbar on the screen all the time.
Dude, I know. Why not?
Like, do something.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't make any sense. Where it's like, this isn't hockey. You don't do a line shift. It's not like,
Yeah.
all right, you guys got the Death Star. You guys got the rest of it.
Oh,
now.
I
Like,
know. No,
it
seriously,
doesn't-
you're totally right.
It's so
Like,
dumb. It's
with
so
characters that have
preposterously
already
dumb.
literally risked their lives and their relationships and their well-being to fight evil, and they're like, oh, but now I'm depressed and older, so you guys have to deal with this now. Like, what?
I
are you
had
even
one
talking
Jedi turn to
about?
the dark side, which the Jedi Order has been able to withstand literally for millennia after millennia, but it happened to me once and then I quit.
Yeah.
Like it literally, it's literally unfathomable.